want to tell you. I've got this old bus that I converted into an RV, and I've had it for about 10 or 12 years now. Lived in it full time for about 4 years up here in Montana, and it's time to get her sold. We got to get this thing fired up, and I got to put it to the front of my property so that people can see it. I'm going to list it on the marketplace. I shot this over a year ago, and I'm finally getting it edited up and getting it posted on the old YouTube. So follow along with me, and we'll go on this journey, what it takes to get this 1976 MCI MC-8 fired up. She's been in hibernation. She's been put up for about 4 years now. We are going to take this 1976 MCI MC-8 bus. We're going to give it a first start. It's been 3 years since it's been started. I drove it here, I parked it right here, I put it up, but now we're going to fire it up. We're going to move it to the front of my property, put a for sale sign on it, because it's just time to let her go to a new home. Yeah, as much as it saddens me. The first thing we want to do is get the battery charger on these things. These are 4D batteries right here, a little narrower. These ones over here, they're supposed to be 8Ds. I can see that these are wider than these ones. And I've had these ones since 2006, and I charged them up last fall. And then I left them sit, not connected to anything, they're disconnected from the bus. And I came out today and they're sitting at 2.4 volts. Now when batteries, flooded lead acid batteries, sit at a state of discharge for a long time, the plates suffocate and it makes them where they're not going to hold a charge. Now these larger 8D batteries that are over here, they showed 12.3 volts. So that's telling me that they're in really good shape. So we're going to charge up the big ones. We're going to pull these littler big ones out. They weigh like 1,000 pounds a piece almost. Looks like my piece of plywood that's underneath here is about rusted out. It's about rotted out. So we're gonna get a new piece of thing in there. We're gonna get the batteries charged up over here. Then we gotta come up to all the tires. So we gotta fill them up. We gotta make sure they are sufficient. And when I said I put it up, I put the covers on it. And then we've also got, they're sitting on a piece of wood. 2 big old thick 2x12s. And that keeps the tires out of the dirt, out of the mud. Makes them last. It's just better. It's just better for them. Now it's going to take a phenomenal amount of time to fill these tires up because they hold 120 pounds of air. When you got a standard air compressor that just looks like that, it'll take, 10, 15 minutes a tire. Yeah. There's lots and lots of prep work in order to get one of these things fired up after it's been put up for quite some time. I guess the best thing to do is just to get into it. Serious. Oh man. Oh, wait a second. 12.3 volts. Yeah, that's good to go. Just gonna top it off a little bit here. Probably half an hour, 45 minutes to bring the other one up. Seeing as how this is a 24 volt system, you got to charge your 12 volt batteries separately, and then that's when you parallel them up for the 24 volts. We'll get these monsters out of here. This is gonna hurt the old back here for sure. Oh, what a beast! Yeah. What do we have under here? Well, it's just a piece of siding, a piece of T111 siding somebody threw in there. They shouldn't have. It went all out. We need something a little better than that. I'm gonna clean all this out, get something new cut. These batteries where they belong. 22.25 square, yep. 23, yep. A little bit of black spray paint on it so it looks a little better. Yeah, gotta bolt this wall down. It seems to be flapping in the wind. Cut these guys off right here. Hammer this down, throw a couple pop rivets in it. Try to strengthen it up some, sure. There's a lot of weight that's gonna be sitting right in there. So after a couple hours, we got this whole little battery bay all rebuilt. 10 bolts put in over there. We got brand new pop rivets along the front. This piece of plywood to help support everything. We got the correct size batteries in it. All the cable ends have got this juice battery terminal protector on them. Another thing that's important is use one of these, a battery terminal cleaner. Clean the insides and the outsides, the posts, and then you do this one here. Then you do this one here for the holes and root that out there and clean all that up. And then you got to get the wire brush after it. You got to get all that scub off there. So you got these things being as clean as possible. Amp flow, you need it to nice and smooth. Get the right size wrenches out to tighten up the connections on them. Just the best. You need the absolute best. Because when your voltage drops, your amperage increases. Voltage will drop due to resistance and current flow by, corrosion, bad wires, and that'll burn out starters. That starter wants 500-600 amps of 24 volt. I don't know. Maybe it's only 300 amps. It's a lot of amps. And as soon as you don't give it enough amps, that thing will start to overheat and burn out. They tell you what, they're heavy and they're expensive. Yeah. So we got the batteries whooped into shape. Now we can get on to doing the tires. Get them filled up. Right, here's one of the joys of putting up your outfit. Now I find that I've got the tire flat. Not one, but the inside is probably just as flat. That's why it's low like that on the bottom. And let me tell you, this is going to take a long time. This one's a lot better, yeah. But this here, I'm going to be here for probably half an hour. Filling this bugger up for sure. I use one of these kind of ends right here that it clips on. And it's got a really long hose on it, so that way I don't have to sit right in front of the tire while I'm filling it up. Another thing that I've got on here is I got valve stem extensions. So you can get in there because you can't get your fingers in these little rotten things to fill them up. So hopefully this thing will take air. I'm sort of doubting it, as flat as it is. Nope, that one ain't. Shoot, how about this one? Maybe. If we can get it to come up a little bit, maybe the bead will sit. Something's happening. Good times. This inside tire, it's off the bead, and I can take it and that's never any good. That makes it hard to get the bead to seat when it's doing that. So I'm going to take one of these valve stem extractors, take the valve stem out, and sometimes that'll let you get more air in there, and it just might get her to seat. If it don't, then we're screwed. We really are. We'll have to do something different with that tire. I think that maybe if we get the bottom of it lifted up on like a 2x4 or something, so that tire's completely hanging in there, then we might have a little better chance. So we're gonna move on to the other ones. It'll move with just this one tire being filled up. We gotta kind of get her out of this area where it's at, but yep, 2 down, 6 more to go. Well, we're back on this project here right now. I started it like 2 weeks ago, and then it got cold and miserable out while I was waiting for the batteries to charge up. Then they charged, and then they said they were charged, and then when it came time to start it, they didn't work. So after $500 worth of batteries, we got 2 brand new ones in here. Some 4Ds. You don't need the 8Ds because you're not using it commercially like that. Got this all ready to go. Now we're back to square one. Down in this back compartment right here, you get inside here and you're gonna find there's a lot of air lines and valves right up in here. These control the airbags to your tag axle. And this one down here I found is to air up the system without running the engine. So I've got my compressor hooked to it. This is a kind of a modification that I put in myself because all they had was this air chuck right here. And this expedites the process of having to lift this, air this thing up with the engine. And airing it up is neat because the whole bus is going to lift up off the ground. See, what we're watching is this gauge right here, the air pressure gauge, come up. And when it gets up to 120, then you'll hear the air dryer pop off. That's how you know the system is just completely full. Ordinarily, the rear airbags will fill up first, and then the front airbags will. You can see how low, there's no gap in between there, and after a while there will be. Open up your rear engine access areas here. We got a lever up here. I don't know if I can do this one-handed. Lever right there. This will lift the upper one up. The radiators are back in there, back over there. Dipstick right down here. I have checked the oil in it already. And this feller right back there, that's sight glass. That's for power steering. And in this particular one, I fill it up right here. I don't have a cap, so I've got a greasy rag that sits down in there. So that's good, that's good. I installed this drain plug right here. And normally when this is full or it's at operating level, you can open this up and coolant will drip out. And then that's how you know that you've got coolant in it. So right now we're just waiting for the air to come up. Everything's ready to twist the wick. Just waiting for air pressure. Here's what the inside of it looks like. Got the windows, curtains closed to keep it, you know, from getting 1,000 degrees in here. These big buggers here, they go all over this to keep the sun out of it. I've fixed the mirrors on it. We're waiting for the silicone to dry to hold the spot mirrors in. Lots of repairs taking place. Still waiting on air pressure. We'll get this door here secured. We shouldn't need in there anymore. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to start it. Right here's a fuel turn off. This thing's controlled by air. Right here's rear start. If we've done everything right. Smoky? Holy moly. Oh, she's a little crabby. Yeah, it's been a while. That ain't good. Oh, sure. That's what they do when they first start, is they'll kind of gallop like that a little bit. It's because the components in the governors wore out. So it kind of bounces against the governor back and forth. What kind of oil pressure do we have? Well, that gauge back there doesn't work. You can't see it. The needle's inoperative. Let's go to the front one. Well, that says 15, 20 pounds, I suppose. Here we can throw the fast idle on. Now we're bumped up to about 45. Let this thing get a little heat in her before we fire it up, or before we move it. Much more footage of pulling out behind that RV. I went up on the street, I turned it around, I pulled it in, I backed it into my RV spots, and all them files got corrupted because I didn't get on it. I made this video a year ago. Now it's out on the Facebook Marketplace for about 3 months. There's a young feller down in Wyoming that ended up buying it, and we stored it for another 3 months. months at my place until he had time to come up and get it. And he showed up, no tools at all, hopped in it, drove it down to Wyoming. Away he went. It's kind of sad to see it go, and I didn't shoot any footage of it leaving because, you know, it just made me sad. I have planned on making a video of the building of this thing as we built it off-grid in North Dakota state parks. Took a couple months to kind of knock it out during my hippie days. I gotta edit that and put it together, so the MCI bus will be back for one more video, and that's kind of all we have. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, throw a comment down below to feed the algorithm so it'll put these out to other people. Maybe consider hitting the old subscribe button. I'm Ron, Classic RVs. Thanks for hanging out with me.